Hello again. There could hardly be a more English supermarket than Asda. It was started in 1949 when a family butchers by the name of Asquith teamed up with Allied Dairies and devised the name Asda by combining the initial syllables of Asquith and dairy to form Asda. I mention this to point out that this is not some foreign company like Lidl, say, or the Colonel Sanders chicken shops. This is a purely English enterprise. Asda market their own range of clothes under the brand name George. In the description to this video, I give a link to the website for these clothes, and I suggest that viewers click on it and scroll through the clothing displayed there and modelled by various men. I have scrolled through 100 pictures of men on this site, models showing off the George clothes, and there is something distinctly odd about it because every single one of the men is black. I'm not saying that most are black, or even almost all. I am saying that I scrolled through 100 images of men modelling Asda's clothes, and every single one of them was black. Now, of course, we have discussed before on this channel the fact that advertisements in Britain tend to have more black people in them than they do white ones, and we've also discussed possible explanations for this. For example, that those producing such adverts are aping the American market, which is aimed at a population where 15% of people are black. This is something quite different though. This is literally 100%, 100 photographs, and every one of them of black people. Asda must have made a conscious decision simply to erase white people and make it look as though they are advertising to an African country. I'm very curious about this because this is no accident, is it? Those running the supermarket chain must have had a meeting and chosen to do away entirely with white representation and to ensure that only black people were allowed to model their clothing range. I know that some people have talked about the idea that white people in Britain are being sidelined and replaced by blacks, and this does look like a perfect instance of this kind of thing. It is becoming difficult lately to find representations of life in England on the television or in films which do not perform a similar trick. It's not about the multicultural society because if it were, then we'd be seeing a lot of Indian people or Chinese and so on. But this doesn't happen. It is without the shadow of a doubt about black people of African ancestry. We have seen historical dramas being populated with black people, and all modern television series work in a greatly disproportionate number of black people. Disproportionate, that is, when compared to their actual number in society, which is about 3%. Now, the idea seems to be to remove the sight of white people entirely and to pretend that they simply don't exist. If anybody can offer any kind of explanation for why an English supermarket would do such an extraordinary thing, I would be very intrigued to hear it. Other retail chains selling clothes certainly try and work in a few black people, but nobody else to my knowledge has taken the step of eradicating white people entirely.